Over a year since we've been able to get together as a community and see and recognize faces. Really glad that not having to wear that mask all the time. We're not wearing masks here tonight, but if you're concerned about yourself, wear your mask. And we hope you will do that if you've got any concerns. We're going to have a presentation from me. I'm going to talk through the programs that we want to go over with you tonight, and I'm going to try to keep it pretty brief. I will not be taking any questions from up here. All of our questions will be answered at the individual components that I'm going to introduce. All of our council meeting are here, members are here. Jason Dykin, raise your hand. Joe Garris, Gary Sinak, Philip Harris, Steve Jones, they're all here. When I'm finished this presentation, I'm going to be down there. So any questions in the general sense, kind of the whys and what's going on and anything that you want to ask us, we'll be glad to listen to it tonight. But I want everybody that has questions to remember every Monday night at the end of every council meeting, we have an open discussion. We invite you to the microphone and address the entire council in the right format. Tonight is to introduce you to projects that we're working on that we believe are important to this community. And we want you to know what we've been working on in this year that we haven't seen yet. And we also want you to know, we want to hear from you. There are things out there that I want your comments on, or we need your comments on. We also, what did we miss? What is not out on that board that you see that you feel like for the next 10 years in this community, we need to be focused on? Don't let us miss something. We're delighted to have the opportunity to talk to you. With that, I'm going to get started. So again, why are we here? Plans for the future. That we're in a very similar situation that we were in after the oil spill. After the oil spill, everything was kind of unknown. We had economic issues. We had problems that were systemic that we already had before that. But as soon as it was over, the oil spill was over, the council got together with you and started Vision 2025, what do we need here to be all we can be? This whole good to great, we know we're good, but we also know we can be great. So we were focused on how do we become great, and we needed you to help us tell us what great means to you. We're back here again. Just coming out of a pandemic, there are issues that we try to look forward to. The oil spill situation, what we knew when we did Vision 2025, we knew that there was going to be recovery dollars coming from BP. We did not know for sure how much it was going to be, but we just knew that we were going to have a project ready to submit to be able to get some funding from BP monies that the federal government was handling. You had to be shovel ready, and it had to be specifically eligible for those monies. We had that because of Vision 2025. And I'm going to tell you in just a minute how much money we've received, and it amazes me, and I think it'll amaze you. We're similarly situated now. There's another round of Restore coming up in the later this year. Mobile and Baldwin County got $750 million. We distributed $350 in the first round. We've got another $400 million to distribute under the Restore grant. We will have an opportunity to submit eligible projects for consideration coming up this year. We need to have a list of what those projects are. And last time we started in 2012 building a program that we didn't finish till 2014. We have 2 years. We're not going to have that kind of time. This reason we've done a lot of the groundwork, but we're going to have to really move quickly, or we will not get in line at the front of the line for funds coming from recovery from the pandemic or the next scheduled round of Restore. So that's kind of a quick snapshot. I want to make another comment to let you know kind of the state of the city. This is not a state of the city address, but I want you to know that even though last year was a terrible year, we eclipsed our budget by $2,473,000. $2,743,473,000 that we were income over expenses that we were able to put into surplus into reserves. So our reserves, we got $38 million in reserves on a $51 million budget. That's above 70%, which is what is required to keep our bond rating of AA+. And for anyone that's ever had to deal in the bond world, AAA is the best you can be. And we have got the numbers to get there, but we have hurricane exposure that will not let us be a AAA rate. So we're as good as we've ever been, and we've got a program that if we can survive last year and make money, I think we're managing our money. I think our department heads are managing our money really well. Interesting enough, 100 years ago this year, George Meyer moved to Gulf Shores. And it wasn't Gulf Shores then. He moved here, and he began putting together a vision for the future of Gulf Shores 100 years ago. And he had the vision to set aside public lands for parks, for schools, for municipal facilities like this. And a master plan for the future. That's what we're doing again tonight. We're now working on the next vision beyond 2025. We need to look a little bit further, and we need to use the input into that. But this is the map as you see, and that's Erie Meyer. This building's named after her. So back to Vision 2025, and when we started that, we were coming out of the oil spill, and we had a down economy, we had inadequate schools, we had insufficient access to health care, we didn't have any state park facilities, we didn't have the trails, really, we did not have a lodging conference center, and the overall quality of life in this community was not where it should be. So that's when we developed Vision 2025. And here's the part that is, to me, is just amazing. What we've received on current projects, and these are primarily transportation projects, through matches through the Restore grant, through Build grant, and through A-Trip grants, and a lot of other grants available, we have total projects underway, $98 million worth of projects to improve our community. It's got a $23 million match. $74.5 million of that money is grant money. And a lot of it's not a reimbursable grant, it is a grant. And we have matching requirements in there on the Build grant. There are no matches on the Restore grant. The Restore grant is one that we just have to pay the soft cost. And in both cases where we're doing Restore grant stuff, we've got partners, private partners, that we're improving their property, and they're paying the match or helping us with it. The challenges we face today in this world is growth management. Of all the things that threaten this community more than anything else is growth. Man, it's too much growth. Our transportation is overwhelmed. A lot of our facilities are busy. So our quality of life, mine included, is threatened by overgrowth. And that's not an easy fix. When in 1984, when the zoning was put in place for this community, most of the properties were given whatever they wanted. And the properties on the north side of the Intercoastal, a lot of them have the same zoning that they have in allowed by right zoning on the beach, 42 units an acre. And there's more units available by right to be built in this community than exist today. And that's just a challenge because it's a right. And we can't take away those rights. It's a taking. It's illegal. And we just went through a program about that over here on some apartments that we didn't want to see built there. But it was zoned for it, and it was entitled to build it. We couldn't stop it. That's what we're facing on trying to work our way through this. And I'm going to get to an example of how we've been able to do some of that in just a minute or two. So growth management is an issue, and just be aware that we are going to have to work. We don't have a magic pill. We can't take our pen and fix the problem. So we got to provide either some way to negotiate a better outcome with the owner of the property and the developer, or we've got to provide the infrastructure to take care of the growth. And that we're limited in opportunities for that. The transportation projects that you see on here, and the majority of what that is, the Build grant. We'll get to that in just a minute. But I want to go back to Restore. And our Restore grant, that's the next page, is the Restore grant is, we got money to build 2 connections to Foley Beach Express. Our Restore grant is, we're going to use that money to create connections to Highway 59, improve connections, like we did on Coastal Gateway County Road 8, improving the access from the Foley Beach Express to 59. We're doing that on County Road 8. We've done that already on County Road 4. We've got improvements already in place there. We will be adding improvements at the intersections of 6. And we're improving all of that through the roadway through Highway 59, and then the Restore creates 2 more access points to get to the Foley Beach Express. The first one is the one that you see, the Waterway East, which is a road that goes through down Mildred Casey Lane, that goes by the Maricultural Center, and then it goes through about 230 acres of undeveloped property. And then it turns north, and Aldott is building a road up to County Road 4 now, and will eventually build it up to the Foley Beach Express. It'll be another way to get on and off and get down to that area, which it comes out around Lulu's. It'll be a 3rd way in off of the Beach Express. You've got 8 and 4 in this new road, the Waterway East, that'll get you into Gulf Shores. And another way to get out through that roadway. The bottom line is a rerouting of Canal Road, and this is grant money that we got from Restore. Every penny of this is funded by Restore, other than the soft cost. And on the soft cost, on the waterway, Intercoastal Waterway East, I don't think it's labeled, but the top line there, that is funded 50-50. The western end of that is funded by the city. The eastern end is funded by the property owner for all the soft costs. So it's a 50-50 split on the soft costs, costing the city about $1.2 million to build that road, which is a $20 million road. So wonderful opportunities through these grants. The Canal Road reroute is important for several reasons. It's important because it frees up around our Gulf Highlands neighborhood there. It gets the traffic out in front of their area and creates a better lifestyle for them. That's one of our older communities in the city, and they've got a 90-degree turn there by Tacky Jacks, and that is a real problem for traffic coming through here. And as we improve this roadway, we'll have a way to get to, right now, the Foley Beach Express. But I don't know if you saw the paper the other day, but I saw, and it surprised me, but there's a new bridge being that was, and Director Cooper gave me specific language that I could say. He said, it is my understanding that this project is scheduled to be let for bid in July. And that's all I can say on that, because I don't know anymore. But I know that now Canal Road became much more important, that reroute of Canal Road, and we've got enough right-of-way to make that a 4-lane road. And we'll have to figure out a way to get it to Fort Morgan Road. And then that can continue to be Highway 180, which it is now. 180 that goes around through there and then goes down Fort Morgan Road is 180. It will continue to be that road, ideally, in theory. But that will be, we need to do that even before a bridge is built, so we can get to Foley Beach Express if we want to go out that way. Because heaven forbid we had to get out that way. Things can happen from over time with barges. I don't like to think that. But so that is and it'll happen one day for sure. I'm not sure when. So then we go next to the build grant. The build grant it's a partner to the Restore grant. Restore grant's building access to 59. The build grant is to build capacity on 59. We're building a 3rd lane south all the way from Coastal Gateway to Fort Morgan Road. And that way, and when we do that, we're going to take up that 3rd unused southbound lane on the bridge. So we now have no way to get pedestrians and bicyclists from the north side to the south side. So part of the build grant include building a freestanding pedestrian and bicycle bridge. This will cross the Intercoastal at an area, for those of you who've been around long enough to know, where the old drawbridge was. That's old 59. That was the only way to get in Gulf Shores. Wade Ward can tell you that. For those of us who've been here long enough, the only way to get in Gulf Shores is through that drawbridge. And this will use that same span, which was ALDOT right-of-way that is now part of the city. The landing on the south side will be at that 90-degree turn, which is why the Canal Road rebuild is really important, so we can accomplish this. But it'll be an iconic, it will be elevators to get up to it for those that, it's gently sloped where you can walk or ride a bike up. I don't know that I could ride a bike on it, but somebody could. But ride up the gently sloped to get to the top, and then or take an elevator up and an elevator down. So it's really going to be something unique, and it allows us to expand our waterway district which is pretty dynamic on the south side. You've got Lulu's on the north side. We now can connect those. And it's our goal to create an entertainment district, which will be similar like they have at Orange Beach at the Wharf, where you can walk across that bridge with a cocktail in your hand. The alcoholic, if it's an entertainment district. So and that's an economic impact on that community over there. It's a little bit out of what we've normally done here, but it was necessary to be able to get more traffic across the road into Gulf Shores. And it'll be safer too. Also, Bill Grant will be building an intersection here. Grant, you're doing better than I am. I just looked at yours, I don't know what page to go to. That's an entrance to the FED. The FED, the freestanding emergency department that South Baldwin Regional Medical Center is building on property that the city of Gulf Shores gave them. They've got about 4 acres there around the microtel and around the old Sacred Heart building. And they'll be building that road so you can have ambulance access in and out. We'll be continuing phase 2 of that road up to County Road 4, Cotton Creek Drive, to have access for everybody north and on this side, on the east side of Highway 59, to be able to get there without having to get on 59. It also provides access to the emergency room for folks from Orange Beach. You'll be able to come down 4 and cut across and get right to it. We'll have a helicopter landing pad station there, and we've got Aaron Ward, who is the manager of the facility, here tonight at that podium back there, kind of answer your questions. He's got a lot of graphics. He can tell you a lot more about this than I can, but it's a great partnership with South Baldwin Regional to help solve a problem. Solve a problem that we can't get from Fort Morgan or from Ono Island. Even trouble to get there from right here in a reasonable amount of time if you needed to get to an emergency room. This gives us great opportunities to get there, even though we've got the best paramedics in this community, or in this country, some of them. And we've got paramedics, and we've got all of our fire trucks have got paramedics in them. So anytime they go to a fire or they go to an accident or a heart attack, whatever, and they get another call, they're ready to go. Because every fire truck can go everywhere and do everything. So, and you've got our fire department back here to be able to talk to you a little bit about that. And I think I jumped ahead of my page here. So, but that was the next. That's it. And that's the this is when I'm going to walk over here. I can do that. I think. You know, I'll block it. This is where the freestanding emergency department is. This is the new roadway that we're building up County Road 4 off of 59. This is the Sacred Heart building. Sacred Heart, man. Oh, it's Sacred Heart building that the city owns right here, that was built as a medical office building and never occupied. And it's got surgical suites underneath that have never been built out. So we've got the freestanding emergency department, city undeveloped property, existing hotel. We've got the Sacred Heart building that is medical opportunities going forward, and we have a piece of property that we've reserved for a future hospital site. The way this community is developing and the way vacant land is being lost for any purposes like that, we concluded that we needed to buy that 32 acres and hold it for opportunities, because we know this island is going to need a hospital. And we know that it's going to take some changes in state law. The state of Alabama does not allow or does not license many micro hospitals. Other states do. So we're going to need some changes. But one day, if we don't secure something now, I don't know where we would put it. And that is high and dry. It's good land. It's accessible from everybody. And it makes sense with all the other stuff we've got going on. What's next, Grant? Our airport. We've got a tower, an FAA-funded tower. And they're building a tower, and that tower is really going to be significant because I lived at Kraft Farms. And I know the problems of the touch-and-go planes and the noise that they make. It is unrestricted airspace. It's visual flight rules. If you see it's clear, you go. It's now going to be coordinated by the FAA. So every plane's going to have to get into a pattern, and will be controlled. They will be able to cut in and out, and we'll be able to have more control, and I certainly believe less noise. We do have opportunities there with that tower that we didn't have before either, and this is transportation related, but we've got committed commuter carriers to want to do service out of that airport. And we've got Sun Country with services to Minneapolis and other destinations. Southeastern Beach Express with service to Nashville, Baton Rouge, and Atlanta. Elite Airways exploring service to Nashville, Chicago, and other regional hubs. That's an opportunity to get people here without driving in their car. And shuttle service opportunities to pick them up and take them to their hotel, their condo, or wherever they're going. They won't be circling in patterns. They'll land and they'll take off, and they'll be noisy when they do, and I know that. But I think it's much better to have that than to have these continuing surfacing naval trainers doing touch and goes. They're loud. They're really loud. So I'm hoping that this helps the noise, doesn't add to it. And so that's our hopes on that. Next slide is fire rescue. We have 40 acres on Coastal Gateway Boulevard, adjacent to Kraft Farms North, that was donated to the city for the purpose of education. And we have in the Star, we're saving that site for a potential elementary school on the north side of the Intercoastal. With the growth that we have, the elementary school is going to need to be expanded, and this is where we felt like the ideal place to put it because it's surrounded by residential growth. And we also, on that property, you see in that star in the upper corner, that's a new fire station. And the new fire station located on the northeast quadrant of our community. We've got one on the northwest with the Oyster Bay Fire Department, We don't have anything on the northeast quadrant, but we will have with that there, and that will help us with paramedics and fire and an opportunity up there that will make at least that portion equal to what we have everywhere else. And surrounding that, we've got community parks, which is the next slide, which is park programs that we intend to build there around the high school with the elementary school community parks. But it will also be something that it will be shared by the elementary school on that property, and the road going south through that property is a connector between County Road 8 and County Road 6. And it will go up into a new development. Raley Farms is developing the property up to the north, and that roadway will come between those. And we will have another way to go parallel to 59 to get closer to town, at least to get to 6, without having to go on 59. And I know this. I know that Waze and all these other directions have been redirecting people through our residential communities, and we're doing everything we can to keep that from happening. But you know, when it gets crowded on the Beach Express, they get on in their phone and they get directed, go over here and you cut through craft farms, and we got to make sure that we do everything we can to prevent that. We ain't quite figured that out yet, but we know the problem. So, and knowing the problem is part of it. So, and go back one. No, I thought we went to the high school from there. Nope, excuse me. The Gulf Shore City School. All right, we start. This is the amazing story. We've got our what are you, Matt? Matt, what are you? Our superintendent. We got our superintendent and our assistant superintendent back there, and they know more than I know, I tell you. But they're back there and they got a story to tell that you won't believe about the accomplishments of this school. And I'm not talking just about growth. I'm talking about what happens inside those roles and with our teachers. Are wonderful teachers, and there are a couple of things in there, I don't know if they're on there or not, that are just fantastic to know. I'm behind here. We had 36 students score over 30 on the ACT. If you took the ACT and made over 30, will you raise your hand? There's a couple. Congratulations to you. I guarantee you my hand didn't go up. So that's what happens in the schools. It's not the buildings we build. It's not anything. It's the teachers. It's the teachers and not overcrowded classrooms and a healthy environment to learn in. It's things we didn't have before that we have now. And it is going to be just amazing to watch it. I'm not going to go into all the details that they've got, but I will say this. The highest certification you can get as a teacher is to be a national board certification. We've got 33% of our teachers going through that, already been through that or going through that. There's less than 3% of the teachers in the country that have that accreditation. So quality teachers, great environment, smart kids. We got a chance to really hang our hat on family, move into our community. This council is committed to, as we look forward, focusing on our families. We're talking about medical. Every one of us is going to need potential doctor needs. We talk about schools. Our kids are going to need something. We talk about parks. How many of us would love to go to a park and play a little pickleball? I saw on that other one we don't have very much of. And I haven't played yet, but I understand all us old guys, it's a good thing to do. So, but teacher focus and commitment is just amazing. And I'm not going to go any more detail. Again, you got Kevin Corcoran, who's the superintendent, the head of our school board. I don't need to. Why am I getting confused about you? I maybe need to go back to school. So I'm trying to hustle through there, and then we own 200 acres on the Foley Beach Express, and the purple line you see going through there is that extension of the waterway east, a new spur road up that AlDOT is committed to build. We don't know where it's going to locate yet because we haven't finalized our master plan for the school. But when you look at, and I will just give you a snapshot of my mind, and this is not something that is in stone yet, our elementary school is crowded. It's full right now, and has been. We're building more buildings over there right now. But the growth that is happening in our elementary school. When Orange Beach built their school, a lot of our middle school and high school kids went to Orange Beach. So our middle school and our high school are not as overcrowded. We need to move, we're going to soon have to move our elementary school into that middle school building. To do that, we're going to have to move middle school into high school. That means we're going to have to start looking sooner rather than later at building a high school on this property. And so the school board has started what they're calling the next wave. And the next wave is to try to understand what's the highest and best use and how do we build something that will make our education program all it can be. So expect to hear more about that and of all the things we've done. Taking care of our kids is just an amazing thing. The segments of the Restore Act that we were able to get money for transportation, we were able to get money for economic recovery in a small sense, but the primary purpose of that was environmental protection, and where there's still money available for environmental sustainability. And so we have partnered with John Michel Couchot, Oceans Future Society, or Ambassador to the Environment Program, to have a camp here to educate our kids in the environmental world at that level. And we'll be able to bring other kids in to do that from other areas, Orange Beach particularly, sharing that. But most importantly, we're going to teach our kids here in Gulf Shores, how important our environment is. I mean, I talk about this all the time, and I know every one of you that are here that went through the oil spill, what we learned about that is when nobody could we couldn't go fishing. We were afraid to eat the fish. We couldn't go swimming. Didn't even feel comfortable walking on the beach. When that happened, nobody came. Nobody came. So why do we have a world here that we want to live in? It's our environment. And I'm passionate about that. And protecting our environment is what we're trying to do. And we have done, and I want you to go back to the back and talk to some of these boards, because we've been able to, again, through some of the restore money for, and NIFWIF with National Fish and Wildlife and NERDA National Resources Damage has given out grants, and we've got multiple properties that we've taken and made into Forever Wild. We now own them, so they're, and most of them had some developable land around them that now cannot be developed. It's only for natural enjoyment, and we've got some money on some of these to be able to build some roadways through it and park trails through it. That's in the Oyster Bay area, around Oyster Bay on the bottom, is at the end of Canal Road, Canal Drive rather. And then on the north side is another wildlife area. Most of that is wetlands, but there's a significant amount of development property on the southern portion of that. Both of those are now Forever Wild, and they'll always be Forever Wild. And go to the next one. And then through another environmental grant that we got through Restore is a grant to be able to water quality in the Little Lagoon. And that means monies to work on controlling the runoff and making sure we don't get fertilizer and other things in there that damage the environment there. And we've got money to take 200 septic tanks that are located on this tight end up here, 200 septic tanks, and hook them up to sewer. Because septic on a waterway like that is not a good thing. And we've got more, and there's more money to come that we're going to be back in line trying to get our fair share of money for removing all the septic tanks out of the lagoon and try to get everybody on our sewer system. So, and we're going to make that happen. We got one more, and this is at the very end of West Beach. There's a parcel of land down there that fortunately the Meyer Foundation owned, and we were able to work with them and be able to get the money to acquire that and take it Forever Wild. That would be developable, but it has beach mouse issues. But it is now going to be a city park. Now we will have limited access because again we got beach mouse out there, but we will have an area there where we'll have restrooms and a small little parking area and opportunities to get out in the lagoon, which is a wonderful opportunity. All right. What's next? Our police department. And I have to tell you, of all the priorities that we've looked, there's a bunch of important ones on there. This is in this council's highest priority, because the worst building that we have in this city is our police department. It was built a long time ago. It's inadequate. It doesn't have the resources that it needs. And we are going to be looking to build a new justice center, which will have a court and have an upgraded police station and a state-of-the-art jail that unfortunately we need. And it will have a secure bunker area. So we don't have anywhere to go in the storm. There's nowhere to go in the storm. I don't remember which one it was, but I think, Joe, you and I were sleeping in the city hall, which is the old city hall. We were sleeping in the city hall, and the fire department came and woke us up and said, "Y'all got to get out of here. This building will not stand this storm." So we had to go to a public works shop bunker that they have on the north side, and we couldn't almost get in there. We had no safe place to go. We also, when we've got prisoners in there, they have to be relocated because we can't stay down there. It'll flood, and that building probably wouldn't take it anyway. So We will be building, we haven't selected the site yet, but ideally it'll be on the north side of the Intercoastal somewhere where it's out of the slosh model. We don't worry about flooding, but it's on higher ground and it's located in a place where we can distribute and get to our community a lot better. I think I've said enough. We thank you for being here. What we need now for you to do is to head to the back of the room. Did I finish, Grant? Yeah, we got 2 more of these. We got more. This next Thursday, the city schools is going to have a meeting to talk to you about some of the stuff I just told you. Hopefully you will go to that too. These schools are important, and they're really important to our future. Parks and Recreation on Tuesday, June 8th, we'll be talking about that park area and other things. We're going to be having, every time we get to another one of these programs, take a step forward, that we need to introduce you to what we're doing and get your feedback. We're going to do this again. So we heard you. We didn't communicate as well as we should. We're going to wear you out now. We're going to do our part. Now you've got to respond. And that's what we want you to do right now. I want you to take the time to go to the back and talk to these folks at these boards. Fill out, and all of our council meetings are standing back there. If you got any big general, you can talk to anyone about anything, but to get the specific information on transportation, on fire rescue, on parks and recreation, city schools, environmental projects, and police, or there's a what did I miss board over there. If you don't see something you want, write it down. Thank you for being here. We'll be looking forward to seeing you in the back of the room.